I wanted to share with you this conversation that I had with a man who goes by the name Jesus Christ. Ever heard of him? Well, I was looking in my YouTube studio and I saw that Jesus Christ had subscribed to me. He has over 1 million followers, and I looked at his channel and saw that he's also a big fan of SpaceX. So of course, this piqued my interest. But what really stood out to me about JC is that he gets all of his revenue from YouTube and donates it to charity, which I think is quite phenomenal.
I didn't want YouTube to be like just this thing that I do for like extra money or something like that. It needed to be something bigger than myself.
He actually lives near where my parents are in Portland. At least that's where he is right now. And so when I was down there visiting family, I decided to link up with him and see what he's all about. I also think that the life of a full-time content creator is quite interesting. So I met up with him to get some insight from my own channel. Like I said, he donates all of his money to charity, which is pretty awesome. And we talk about going to Mars and all of the great exciting things that we're seeing with SpaceX and just what we can look forward to in the coming months and years ahead. So I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. Here it is.
The only verified Jesus Christ on all of the internet.
What does Jesus think about the prospect of going to Mars?
I think it's fantastic that humanity goes to Mars, and I think they should get there as soon as possible.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What is your first name, your real name?
Jesus. Well, it's kind of complicated. It's actually Yeshua, but that's really hard for people to spell, so we just go with Jesus.
That's easy enough. So I'm Ellie in space, and I'm here with...
And I'm Jesus on Earth.
Yeah. And I have some very important questions for Jesus today, because some of you guys may have seen Jesus in the chat on, NASA spaceflight.
Basically, anywhere there is space, I'm there. I'm usually there. I'm
Yes.
not always in the chat too, because I don't want to bring a bunch of attention to myself. I don't want to take away from the from what's happening, but
Right.
I like to participate and be there. So I'm always there. I never miss a stream.
Kind of tell me why you're into space, and we'll go from there.
Well, I would say I would say more importantly than space, or more specifically, is I'm into science. I mean, I love space because space is where the new frontier is right now. I mean, this is the best place to explore is space. But I'm all about science, because science for me is the pursuit of truth, and I'm a real big fan of that. If you know me, you know I'm a big fan of truth, and so I'm a real big fan of science. I love NASA. I love SpaceX. I love Blue Origin. I love anybody that is trying to better humanity
Right.
with space.
Right. And Elon's a big one.
Elon's a big one. Elon is probably the biggest, in my opinion. He is the patron saint of space travel and of backing up humanity, or so to say, the backing up the consciousness.
The light of consciousness.
The light of consciousness.
Yes.
Sorry. Yes.
Yes. What does Jesus think about the prospect of going to Mars?
I think it's great. Personally, I'm going to stay here on Earth, because the sins of humanity on Earth are enough for me to handle. I don't think I want to take on any more. But I think it's fantastic that humanity goes to Mars, and I think they should get there as soon as possible. Because I agree with Elon that it could be over pretty quickly, and there's not a whole lot we could do about it right this moment to stop it if that were to happen. So we should really be doing everything we can do to get there.
We got to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, and it's not just about getting there. It's not just about getting to Mars. It's what it will take for humanity to get there. It's
Right.
It's everything that it's going to take to get there, and that's what we need right now more than anything. Humanity. When I say we, I'm more talking about you mortals. that next leap, because it's been a little too long. I think, since the mortals made it from the blue one to the little gray one.
Right.
It's been like over 50 years since we made that first journey.
Right.
It needs to happen again.
And getting to the red one is a lot more complex than getting to the gray one.
To the little gray one, yeah. A lot more complex, but equally, if not more important.
So you haven't been down to Starbase,
Not yet.
but you're blown away by what's happening.
Yes, and I want to go. I definitely want to go to Starbase. I hope to attend a launch of Super Heavy and Starship. I don't know if I'll get to go in January or when it will happen, but I hope to be there, definitely. I think for me, that would be probably the coolest experience. I mean, I wasn't on Earth for the Apollo missions, unfortunately. I was a little tied up somewhere else, but I'm really glad that I get to be here for this. This is I think the greatest time to be alive again.
Right.
It's right now.
What do you think about making commandments with Elon Musk isms, like innovate with extreme urgency? The best part is no part.
That I think is necessary. I think we're due for some new commandments. I think the current commandments we have are a little dated, and half of them are not even useful anymore, while the other half are just kind of no-brainers.
Right.
I do think Mars is going to need a 10 commandments for sure, and I think Elon should be the one to write those.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, I think you've already nailed a few of the spirit of what some of those commandments should be.
As humans, I mean, we need direction.
Yes, that is true. Mortals are in need of someone to tell them.
So
it is.
Let's talk a little bit about the YouTube, because I love, I've talked to Marcus House and I've talked to Scott Manley just about, they have pretty blooming channels. So what is it like to be on YouTube and
I love it. I mean, YouTube is I mean, we were having this discussion earlier where I think YouTube is the place.
Right.
It really is. And it's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. It's not like a MySpace or something like that we'll think fondly of back on in the future. No, it's here to stay. And I love being on YouTube, and I'm really glad to have an audience on this platform. And I think and I love to share this platform with many great creators like yourself, and the space tubers, as I call them, or I guess everybody affectionately calls the space tubers. There are so many great talented and wonderful people working in that space, pun intended, that I'm really happy. I mean, I'm not a space tuber. I don't consider my space a tuber. I'm just an enthusiast.
Right.
And I love being a part of the community because I recognize the same people in the chat from whether it's Tim Dodd's stream or Felix's stream or Marcus's stream or videos or a Scott Manley video or whatever. It's pretty much the same people, and I love that there's such a thriving, growing space community on YouTube.
Right.
It's awesome.
What have you learned through doing YouTube over the years?
Wow. Where do I start there?
I know, right? It's a loaded question.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot. I mean, I think all the lessons you learn on YouTube are like the lessons you learn on life. Patience is a big one, I think. But I mean, you think as far as I mean, what I've actually learned on YouTube is pretty much everything.
Right.
I get my actual knowledge, a lot of it, through YouTube. I mean, yeah, I read books, sure, but day to day, like how I actually ingest my knowledge and how I, grow that way, it's mostly through YouTube, and it's through YouTube educators
Right.
who are out there putting, and a lot of that is space tubers, like how I get my space education. It's Scott Manley mostly. It's my, it's stuff like that. So as far as what I've learned, by consuming YouTube, but like doing YouTube, I think is probably what you're asking.
Yep.
Like, what have I learned actually being a YouTuber?
Yeah, because you weren't always a YouTuber.
No. Yeah, YouTube is a relatively new thing to me, I guess. I say relatively new. I mean, it's been like 5 years, I guess, or I think 2015 is when I first appeared on YouTube, made my second coming on YouTube.
And I'm about to do my favorite form of walking on water, snowboarding.
I've learned that YouTube is the only place I ever care to be or ever really want to, focus my efforts. I haven't really tried, with any of these other, I've put some TikToks up, and I've experimented with Instagram and stuff like that. But as far as creating content, YouTube is where it's at. I just like the community of what it is. I like what YouTube did for me, and I want to give back in any way I can, in the way that I feel that YouTube did for me. So YouTube for me radically changed my mortal existence, so to speak, and really opened up my eyes to the world. And I kind of hope to kind of do that in my own little small way to others, but just, in my way. But then also giving back, like, physically doing something good while doing it. And that's where the charity work really comes in. A big part of YouTube is, I didn't want YouTube to be like just this thing that I do for like extra money or something like that. It needed to be something bigger than myself, so that I wouldn't fall into that trap that you see a lot of YouTubers do, complaining about being demonetized, or things are not going that way. I never wanted YouTube to be that. Right from the get-go, I never wanted it to be that. So I chose from day one that I would never get hung up on money or numbers. And so I decided to put everything 100% into charity, and that's how it's been ever since my channel started, and that's how it will be forever. So I think that's helped me personally. I'm not saying like everybody should do that or something like that. No, it's just that's been the thing that's really helped me to keep this whole thing kind of going, to stay motivated. I am much, much more motivated by knowing that I've helped a dog, saved a dog's life, than like any sort of graph or dollar signs or anything like that can give me, like, so.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't actually know that you did that. What is the charity?
Aussie Rescue SoCal. It's a breed rescue in California, where I was originally at before here, and they rescue dogs that, specifically Aussies like mine,
you have an
like
Aussie.
Judas, from that are about to be euthanized. So basically, this charity gives the special, addresses those needs of those dogs, so that they don't have to be euthanized, and so all of my AdSense revenue, my super chat, and everything goes to that, and it's been significant enough to where many dogs have saved, many of their lives have been saved, and so
Wow.
it's been way more fulfilling to me, I think.
That's so cool.
Like knowing like I can put faces, like actual sweet little fuzzy faces, to the success of my channel, rather than just like
Right.
stuff, like.
But you do need to make a living, so you do that through the Cameo and the Fiverr.
Yeah, that's how I pay the bills. I keep the lights on with Fiverr, Cameo, Mimo, Thrills, all the different apps that let you get like a shout out. That's what I do. I do shout out videos.
How
online.
many shout out videos do you think you've done?
I know I've done over 26,000 different shout out videos since I've started. I don't have like the exact number. I just kind of, I know based on the different, because some of them, they all tell you how many you've done, and last time I added it up, it was over 26,000 different videos or whatever floating around out there on the internet.
Wow.
So
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
it's a lot, but I've got a lot more to make. I plan on doing this for a while.
I was going to say, you have some exciting stuff in the works.
I do have some exciting stuff in the works. Can't talk about it yet,
Yep.
but good things are coming. Some things I've been waiting for a long time to do are finally happening.
Do you think you'll ever expand into, space niche, or you think the space tubers got it covered?
I think the space tubers have got it covered for sure. I feel like if I were to try to enter that market, that sector, I wouldn't serve it any better than it's already being served. But that's not to say I wouldn't love a great collab with a space tuber, or maybe to do something fun in that area for not as a whole channel thing, but a side thing would be kind of fun, because I truly am passionate about space exploration. I really am. I geek out on that stuff. Space history, just space exploration history. I mean, I love my space knowledge. So I geek out on that stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just being covered better, or if it's a lot more mainstream now, because I just feel like more people are getting into space right now.
Well, yeah, I think it is becoming a little bit more mainstream, because there's people like Elon Musk who are bringing it into the public eye more and more, and it's becoming more of a thing. Let's be real. For the last 50 years, there hasn't been anything that exciting going on in space or on Earth about space until now. And now suddenly we have our own little space race going on, commercial space race.
Right.
And it's clearly being dominated by SpaceX. And it's great to see all these things happening out in the open air.
Right.
We're seeing starships being constructed in real time, and it's really cool to see all of these space tubers and live streams and all these things popping up, this almost it's like an industry built around just covering what's happening with SpaceX. And
there's so much.
There's so much, and there's enough people interested in it, and I love that. I'm one of those. I watch every single space video that comes out on YouTube. Every single Marcus House, Tim Dodd, Scott Manley.
Well, you found Ellie in space somehow.
Ellie in space, and subscribe to you. Basically, if you're out there making space content and you're out in front, you don't have a computer talking for you, and you're just showing images, which I'm subscribed to some of those channels too. There's a lot of those where they just have a computerized, it's news.
Oh, it's so bad.
Terrible.
It's so bad.
But I still can't help but to click on those, because I've got to get my space news, and I just love it. And there's more room. There's more room out and
right.
For it, and so I don't think it's too overly saturated yet.
Well,
but I'm not going to do any space news.
Even when you just think about the concept of rocket reusability, and how that's happening right in front of us, and the endless possibilities of where that can go.
Right. The holy grail, the true holy grail of space travel is right around the corner.
Yeah.
And once we have that, then we are we can really truly be that spacefaring civilization, or at least start with that. But until we've got a fully 100% reusable spacecraft, then we're still kind of stuck in that weird, training wheels phase of we're never going to get to Star Trek, at that rate, if we're just still launching this stuff out into space, using it one time and done with it.
I feel like some people don't really understand why we want to go to Mars, or maybe they think, we should solve our problems here on Earth first. Do you encounter that sometimes?
All the time.
And why do you think that, we need to think bigger?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest ones. Like, why spend all this money out in space when we have all these problems to solve here on Earth? And well, that's just a conflict of special interests, really, is what that boils down to. Because the reality of it is, the space travel, our pursuit of space travel has indeed helped humanity, and it has changed humanity drastically for the good. There's so many technologies that humanity benefits from now that wasn't around until NASA needed to solve a problem. And some of those things are like, I mean, yeah, we all know, like, you know, things like Velcro or like, you know, revolutionizing the tire or things like that. But it's other things like baby formula wasn't really a thing until NASA made it a priority, and now they can think of how much of an impact baby formula has, you know, and it's been, you know, they've done numerous studies to show that like every $1 invested into space can net anywhere from $4 to $8 back. Wow. in help in you know, economical growth or like, you know, technological growth, or, you know, it's not just like we're benefiting space and it's staying there. Like, those benefits are staying up there and they're locked up into space. No, they're coming down to Earth, mm-hmm. you know. And I think some of the most exciting things can only be done in space. Like you know, for example, printing organs. You know, human living tissue is a reality that maybe someday, you know, humans can print organs without a donor, like from their own, you know, their own living tissue, their own cells. So there's no rejection. You don't have to worry about any of that, and it can be done. But these are things that can only be done in space. You know, they can only be done in microgravity, and there's a lot of really exciting possibilities that we have that come from space, and so it really is. I think it should be a priority, and not like we're not spending enough money on space. We're not. I think one of the biggest travesties in modern day right now is how little money is going into NASA right now. I mean, how much of their budget, or, you know, how little of your $1 is actually making it to NASA, and it's less than 1%. It's not even a half a penny.
Wow.
Of that $1 actually makes it to NASA, and I mean, there was a time when NASA had a much bigger part of the budget, where it was maybe up to 10%, you know. Or more or less, I can't remember. It was somewhere like, I've heard 12%, I've heard 10, I've heard 8, I've heard different numbers there. But you can see the difference it made. While it was a higher priority, while it was a bigger part of the budget, we got so many great technologies out of it, so many amazing things, and so more than anything, we got so many engineers and mathematicians and scientists out of it, because the science, the space program inspires people, inspires this next generation, and unless we've got something to inspire us or to aspire to, then we kind of become stagnant, I think, as a country, or as like a people group, you know. It's exciting for me to see that people like Elon Musk are not waiting for the government to do something. They're just doing it themselves.
No. How long have you been following SpaceX?
Probably since day one. I mean, I've been following them. I shouldn't say I've been following them as heavily as I do now, but I mean, ever since I heard about SpaceX, I was following them. Their original launches. I mean, I remember watching on YouTube the Grasshopper program and seeing that and being kind of blown away that, oh my gosh, they're doing it. Like, feeling that then, and that was like over 10 years ago now. But I remember feeling that then, you know, about a decade ago, like, wow, this is a thing. This is really happening. I remember the like, they're going to land a rocket, and I remember the moment when it did happen, And it was such an amazing moment. I cried. I got emotional.
Have you seen a launch in person?
Not in person.
Neither have I.
No, I've yet
In the
to
same boat.
see one in person. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I really can't. But
Are you going to try to go to the orbital launch?
I'm going to try. Yeah.
Same.
It's going to be tricky though, unless we know exactly when.
Right.
I don't have the I don't have the luxury of being able to go and just kind of wait for it to happen. I kind of have to know when it's going to happen and plan that. But if I'm afforded that, I will do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you like Blue Origin too, and I feel like there's a small group of people that are very anti-Blue Origin, and I think that may be a mistake.
Yeah, see, I have mixed feelings about Blue Origin. I mean, I don't like how litigious they are. This whole suing and trying to, the competitive nature of it, I don't like that. I mean, I think they're essential because competition is essential for growth. So SpaceX needs competition in order for them to stay competitive. And so I'm glad for that. I'm glad that there is a Blue Origin. And Blue Origin needs competition too. And they have that through other, there's a lot of competitors in that arena. And they're really the only other ones that are really actively working right now on 100% reusability, or at least close to it.
Right.
And that's good. I definitely have mixed feelings about Jeff Bezos. I think he should give all of his money to the poor, follow me, and then, of course, keep on with the space stuff. But I'm definitely, if I'm like I'm a betting man, I'm definitely got my money on
SpaceX.
On SpaceX, yes,
Sure.
absolutely. No doubt. There's no question about it. So, but I mean, I love them all. I mean, I'm a fan of anybody that's going to space. Rocket Lab is amazing. They do amazing things. I'm really excited. I think Peter Beck is such a cool guy, and I love what they're doing. Astra is really exciting right now. They finally made it to space. Good job, Astra. But all the other, I'm really excited about Bigelow. I really want, those are projects I really wanted to see keep going somewhere, and unfortunately have kind of stalled a little bit.
Right.
But I really want to see commercial space become more of a thing. One thing I am really on board with, or really in line with Jeff Bezos, is I do think heavy industry needs to get off of Earth and out into space.
Right.
And I would really love to see Earth become kind of a park, a preserve, and for all industry to be out into space. I think that would be amazing and a good future, like a good direction to head.
Yeah.
Will we get there? Will there ever be, giant floating colonies in space? I don't know. We're more likely to have colonies on Mars and the Moon than anything crazy, giant up in space or.
Right. Do you watch The Expanse?
No, not yet. It's one of those things that's been on my list. I watched a few episodes of the first season and quickly realized, all right, this is something I want to do, but I don't have the time for it. I can't really binge it.
I was going to
and
say.
so I've been waiting. It's been sitting on the back burner to binge when it finishes. And I guess they're wrapping up now, or they're in their 5th or 6th season now.
Yeah.
So once it's done, I'm just going to sit down and binge the whole thing eventually.
All right, speed round. What's your favorite movie, Jesus?
Oh no, Jesus does not have a favorite movie. Unfortunately, I don't possess this favorite movie thing. Just lots of movies I like, lots of directors I like, but no one favorite movie, unfortunately.
What's your best advice to youngins, the kiddos?
Best advice to youngins. Well, that would be everybody to me, because everybody's a young to me. I would say, man, you really put me on the spot there. I'm really thinking
That's
hard
what I
here.
do.
Best advice I could give to somebody just young is, if you're young, don't worry about things right now. Okay, everything's going to seem much, much more important and much bigger than it really is. But trust me, it's not a big deal. Nothing's a big deal yet until you're like, I don't know, in your 20s or 30s. Then you can start worrying about stuff. But until then, don't worry about anything. Just be happy, and also don't care about what other people think, because what other people think doesn't actually matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It shouldn't matter to you. So don't let it, affect you in that way. Have people that you trust. Have your friends that you do listen to, that they do matter, but don't let the opinions of anybody affect you, because it shouldn't. All right. Just keep your tight group, care about them, but everybody else, you just gotta let it go. Okay.
Right.
And don't sweat. Just don't sweat stuff. Be a good person. Okay. You don't need religion. You don't need rules. You just need empathy.
You may not have a favorite movie, but I think you have some books that you like. So what's a good book that you'd recommend?
I do have a lot of books that I really like. There's a few that I could recommend. I really like, there's another one, because there's like 10 that I really, really, really enjoy. We were just talking about the Steve Jobs biography,
right?
Which the same biographer is writing one on Elon Musk that I can't wait for. Really excited for that.
Do we know when?
I don't know. He's currently writing it now, so I wouldn't think it's going to be until middle of next year, of 2022. I would also recommend Yuval Harari, I think is his name, wrote a book called Sapiens.
I've heard of that one.
It's really
I haven't
good.
read it. I've heard of it.
Loved that book. I really love anything by Carl Sagan. I've written a few of his. Dawkins has written a few good ones too. Demon Haunted World is a good one. So many good books. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Oh boy. Yes, it does.
I tend to think so too.
I'm going to say that you can put anything on your pizza as long as you're not hurting somebody else, and there's consent in all parties involved. And you know what? You do whatever makes you happy, and if it's pineapple on your pizza, go for it. I just may not necessarily have a slice with you, but I love you just the same.
Love it.
Make sure you hit that notification bell, because every time you ring the notification bell, an angel gets its wings. Oh. Okay. Also, it helps with the algorithm. Okay, because the algorithm gods, you don't want to anger those guys.
No.
They mean business. So it would really help Ellie in space if you hit that notification button. It's like the most powerful thing you can do next to the subscribe button.
Wow.
And then, of course, liking. Liking stuff is important too, but also sharing. Be a
Sharing's
good missionary and share Ellie in space, because sharing is caring, and be a good missionary.
Right. Love it.
Yes. And stay blessed, and don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Well, thank you, Jesus.
You're welcome.
For gracing us with your presence.
Praise be.
And yeah, awesome.
Yeah. High five for space.
High five, yes.
Yay.
To the moon.
To the moon.
I really enjoyed speaking with JC, and also I gotta say it was pretty cool to see his 1 million subscribers plaque. So I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. I have many more that are on the way. So if you're not already subscribed, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you soon.